What's going on, YouTube? It's James with another Shy Hammer. What is wrong with the T9A Orc and Goblin book? And today is a taboo subject. Ooh, it's what's wrong with orcs in general. So, basically, I know this is controversial. I know this just making these videos is going to be controversial. But you know what? At the same time, I kind of feel like it needs to be done. I feel like you know, there's a lot of people who argue why their army sucks. I understand that. I understand Babanik mentioned that, you know, try to do a 3-hour video on Dark Elves, or Dread Elves, excuse me. Said the wrong word. But I understand that. I understand a lot of armies need a lot of work, and a lot of people feel like that their armies aren't up to par. And I get that. I understand that there's a select few that are just dominating every meta, every scene, everywhere. And I think that by no means do I know the answers. I don't. I know that. And the reason why I did the first video, which was the board video, and this one, is basically to kind of like snowball ideas, at the same time try to get these fixes done. Because if we don't get these fixes done, basically what ends up happening is we're just watering down our own game, and basically we're turning into AOS. We're turning into basically we're going to hit on this number and wound on this number every time, and there's not going to be much to it. I understand that is exactly the opposite of what the T9A project has been for. Basically, I understand. I mean, I'm 100% behind the T9A project. You see me at every freaking venue, every event, every game, and I play this game freaking religiously. But I feel like that if they don't do these fixes for certain armies, some armies are going to start becoming more and more obsolete, you know, and it's going to become the beast herds of the 8th edition, you know, for orcs and goblins, which is basically the green beast herds at the moment. Technically, beast herds are way better, way better. Anyways, we're gonna go over really quick on orcs today. Look at this. I got an actual standard orc dude. Orcs. All right, there we go. Right there, focus on him. Anyways, so we got our orcs, which this could basically be a common orc or an orc eadbasher. Our feral orcs, and I tend to paint my feral orcs red. All right. Our orcs with crossbows. Okay. Well, I guess I got this guy out for the orc eadbasher. This guy's my orc eadbasher here. There we go. All right. And then we have our orc with bows. Okay. So one of the issues is, and this is one of the things you guys have seen a lot lately, in basically any tournament you've probably been in, is either A, there's a lack of orcs, there's a huge push in goblins, and I do blame myself for that. I blame the fact that I use a lot of goblins in my videos recently for bow shots, and granted, you would see, if you don't see that, you see an orc bow line, which is usually, like, there's one guy at ETC who ran 150 orcs with bows. And part of the problem is with that, I mean, I talked to my brother about this, and my brother's the one who brought this up to me. He goes, what movie, what universe have you ever known? Which background have you ever known where orcs are just shooting a shit ton of bows? Or even goblins? There is none. They're a combat force. And currently, with the current rule set, orcs are not a combat force. They are not a destructive combat force. They do not put the fear of anybody when you put bodies across the table to try to tear them up with orcs, because they don't care. Mainly because these little orc error guys here, they're only going to be strength 4 in combat. Now, the big debate on the forums right now is to merge eadbashers and orcs to be 1. Okay? I have a problem with that. And again, these are my opinions. I mean, if you guys don't agree with me, I understand that. I mean, you guys probably have your own vision, your own fluff. But I mean, let's be honest here. Let's think about this clearly. Like, orcs should be a close combat army. They should. They should be dominating the close combat. And these guys right here are only going to be strength 4 for 1 round of combat, and then after that, strength 3. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Strength 4 isn't that scary. It doesn't do shit. You know, oh, it's 1 strength higher than a elf spearman. Okay, and I gotta stop using elves because apparently you guys think I want to play elves. I do not want to play elves at all. Okay, by any means. I am a freaking greenskin. I freaking scream like a greenskin. I am a greenskin. I'm freaking built like a greenskin. That's what I am. And freaking I want my ONG to play like orcs and goblins, not Zod and goblins, okay? And the reason why I do that in my battle reports is because orcs aren't and don't have a role in my army besides Zod, all right? And strength 4 isn't nothing, you know? The eadbashers used to be huge back in version 1.1. In version 1.1, we had a 40-man cap on feral orcs, all right? Or eadbashers, excuse me, eadbashers. And you would see everybody bringing big blocks of ferals and big blocks of eadbashers, and if they didn't want to deal with the frenzy, they would go with the common orc, you know? Part of the problem with the whole common and feral thing, I think, is that the rules are a little too similar. I think they have the same freaking role, you know, and it's just, do you want to be frenzied or not? The ward save is negligible. Again, the ward save is a 6-up ward save, which does nothing. The only time I could ever see that ward save actually being useful is if you decided to boost up MR, and now you have an additional +1, so you could do like MR 4 with the Obsidian Nullstone and get a 3-up ward against magic. But besides that, I don't see a big difference between besides the frenzy, you know. And I think that is one of the problems that orcs lack. I think that they lack different roles, and I hate to bring up the elf equivalents because they're not really equivalent. But basically, each elf has a different rule, you know, where orcs really don't have the different. The one exception is iron orcs. Iron orcs get bodyguard, immune to psychology, and weapon master, which are actual special rules that give them a good benefit, a good a different, you know, and plate mail too, which is huge. So, but we're talking about the orcs, okay? So orcs, you could take light armor, you could take a shield, and that's about it, okay? And the feral orcs are pretty much, you could just take a shield, and then you get the 6-up save, which is basically shit. All right. So the big nerf came into this version 1.2 1.3. The big nerf was nerfing eadbashers to 30 cap. All right. I don't know why they came up with 30 cap. It is too little for how many bodies you need on the table for orcs and goblins. And everybody who owns an orc army has hordes of orcs. Hordes. All right. And they can't use them. They use them for a bow line, basically, because their core unit that was a hole puncher, which, you know, I know a lot of people are like, well, you can't, you know, my core doesn't have a hole puncher in there, you know, and I understand that not every core has it, but this is, again, we're talking about a angry, aggressive, neutral evil army, okay, that is made to destroy. All right. And if you want to argue with me that you have core warriors who could be strength 5, who are initiative way better and weapon skill way better, and again, I know we're not warriors, we're not this elite combat block, but I'm just saying if we have a shittier weapon skill than most, we have one of the lowest initiatives, period. All right, I mean, there's freaking barrel guard are faster than orcs, you know, and so are necro guard, and so are I mean, basically the only thing that I ever fight that is technically slower is dwarves. That's it. And dwarves have a shit ton of defense, where I feel like dwarves should have the shit ton of defense. I feel we should have a shit ton of offense, or at least enough bodies to come back at somebody. And that is one of my major issues. My major issue is when you try to pay for an orc upgrade from a common orc to a feral orc, and then you go into eadbashers, it starts like multiplying ridiculously fast on how many points per model that is. And this is why you don't see them. This is why you don't. It's not because of the paired weapons or the spears. It's not because of the shields. It's not even because of the ward save. It's because of the fact that it costs too much for what it does, and it doesn't have a specific role. One of the biggest nerfs, again, from 1.1 to 1.2, is the fact that there is no hatred. There's no reroll. There's nothing of that sort. I'm sorry. I live in Chicago. People get shot all the time. All right, but there's no hatred, there's no reroll, there's nowhere to boost how many hits you have, and the problem with that is you go into combat. You go, if you're trying to hold ranks and go steadfast, and you go decide 5 wide, 6 wide, 7 wide, whatever it is, and you go into ranks and you're only getting that front line to attack and the first 2 ranks to attack, and you go into combat, and what ends up happening is you'll lose your back ranks. You lose several ranks, actually, usually, because your orcs are pretty much naked or close to naked, and they die pretty easily. They're going second. Their weapon skills are usually lower than whoever you're fighting, usually. And then by the time your first 2 ranks actually do attack, you miss half the hits. You miss more than half the hits. God forbid you're fighting like an Empire army who just puts up a buff wagon right behind them, and it's -1 to hit on top of their parry, or just -1 to hit on top of the fact that you don't have a better weapon skill than them, and all of a sudden you're hitting on 5s, and you have, say, 20 attacks. Well, not hitting on 5s, you're only getting about like 6 of them or something like that, like something really small. So if you're getting 6 attacks in, and then you're only doing, yeah, you're strength 5 for 1 round, hey, great, you're doing about 5 wounds. Alright, and when they attacked you, they probably did like at least 10 to 15 wounds. You lose combat pretty much every time. Well, great, you could put a character in there. And then characters, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. Characters are the one redeeming quality I find in Orcs and Goblins. Characters, if you ever watch all my battle reports, I freaking max out all the characters because there's customization in the characters. Characters could have different roles for different purposes in your army. And I feel like I abuse that, and I feel like that is a great thing in the game, is customization. Alright, I know a lot of people have problems with the fact that, oh, it's too customizable, it's too hard to friggin' figure it out. No, it's not. I do it, my brother does it, like all my friends do it. I know everybody who plays this game loves to customize their army based on certain things, on what they need and what they want to see the army do. Alright? Anyways, I'm already wasting 11 minutes just jabbering on. I'm sorry, guys. So Error Boys, okay? You got Strength 3 shooting, doesn't do shit. Strength 4 all of a sudden in the first round of combat, doesn't really do shit. They're going to lose a good chunk of bodies. Yeah, you could go 50, yeah, but why would I want 50 strength 4? You know what I mean? It's rough to do that to an Orc and Goblin army because, and I understand, like I said, I understand that people are talking about doing the merge, doing the giant merge of Orc eadbashers and Orcs. And one problem I have with that is the weapon skill, because Orc eadbashers, the reason why I would take Orc eadbashers, okay, the reason why I would take the biggins, as they used to be called back in 8th edition Warhammer, is because of the weapon skill 4, because of the strength 5, because they are harder to kill, okay? You don't take them because you want just the strength. You want them because they're a better fighting unit than another your opponent. Instead of your opponent's cheapest skeleton or cheapest whatever it is, you want somebody who is actually there for a fight. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with these guys. I'm just gonna call out all my beefs with this right now. With these guys, the crossbow orcs, okay, or as I call them, the crossborks, okay. They used to have synergy, and this is what the #1 thing is that synergy in the Orc and Goblin book is missing. God damn, I swear to God, I don't do these damn ambulances and cops on purpose, guys. Anyways, they're missing synergy, okay? The #1 culprit for that, the #1 reason why from 1.1 to 1.2 and 1.3 changes that changed the Orc and Goblin synergy is the spells, the magic spells. The Goblin spells in the old edition, in 1.1 edition, they worked with the Orcs. They worked with the Goblins. Give them poison, Jesus Christ, reroll 6s. That is freaking huge, what's the other ones? The freaking minus the weapon skill from the Green Moon. The freaking, just reroll hits and wounds if you're in the flank. That is huge in potential. And it created where magic was really valuable. And people will want to stop those spells, Or shamanism or shamanism or wilderness or whatever it was called. Where you get the plus toughness on them or I understand that's still there technically, but it would just, they would go hand in hand with that synergy. And currently we don't have a reroll system. We don't have a way to hit or create a fear of stopping a close combat spell. You know why? Because we have just like 1 or 2 shaman spells, okay, Frenzy doesn't do shit because we usually have Frenzy already. If we decided to take the Savages, if we did not decide to take Fat Savages, oh great, we got Frenzy. Yay, I had to pay for a 400-point Shaman to do what I could have just paid for my Orcs to have already. You get the plus Strength or plus Toughness, but again, I'll now have to pay for a Shaman to get my horde of 50 Orcs to be Strength 5, which they should have been already. And then... you know, and or -1 to hit, which is the only thing for potential debuff. But it's like, again, if I was my opponent, I would just debuff the unit. You know, like, I mean, it's not. We're not accurate enough. We're not supposed to be accurate enough, but we're just not accurate enough to make a difference. And at the same time, we lose bodies in mass, and that is a huge issue. I have a simple solution. And I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear it. Okay, I know a lot of people like to hear it. I mean, I had a lot of people watch my video, the last video I made. But it would tie in synergy for certain units to certain armies, and I feel like that is one thing that it's potential. How do I put this? It could help out the book entirely. It could really help out the book, and that is to add one bound spell. One bound spell. Okay, I mean, I honestly have two things in my head about this. One is the Spider Shrine. You could give the Spider Shrine its own set of bound spells. Its own set of bound spells. It would make the Spider Shrine on the Gargantua actually useful, where people would start to play it. People don't play it because it costs like 900 points to take a Shaman that will get shot down by cannons. And that's you know, a no-no, but at the same time, it doesn't really have any good spells that I can't just take a guy on foot for a lot less. But the other one is, I know this is taboo again, I'm just going to keep on, I don't give a fuck, alright, is the Idol of Gork. Or, the Great Green Idol, excuse me, the Great Green Idol. And I know mine's not a giant statue, mine's a giant friggin' elephant that's green-skinned, alright? But, the Idol, if it had a bound spell, if it had one bound spell, that would give hatred. How huge would that be? You know, oh yeah, everybody bring it. Well, would they? Would they sacrifice their 2 spiders for maybe a spider and an idol? You know? I mean, it's not game breaking. The rule exists. Every army has almost access to rerolls except for ours, you know? And if you can't find it, please tell me which army doesn't have access to rerolls in some sort. You know, reroll 1s, reroll this. Oh, I got a 6. I get an extra roll on something. Oh, I got, you know, I get to reroll 1s because I am a dark elf. I have a banner from Ogre Cons. I have lightning reflexes, and I get to hit you on a +1. No, everybody else is way freaking more accurate than us. All right, and if you gave us one bound spell, you would start to see more green idols walking around. Okay, because I'm gonna tell you right now, green idols, there was about maybe 3 at ETC, me being one of them, and the other 2 I don't even know how they did, but I was actually just kind of shocked to see that. But I mean, you rarely ever see anybody bring out a green idol. Why? Because they're not useful. They have 3 attacks, weapon skill 2, which is a totally different subject. I'll get onto the idol in another video. But it's a possibility to buff this unit. I gotta decline that call. There we go. Sorry, Chewy. I'm making a video. It's a possibility to give synergy back to the army. It's a possibility to give the ONG a potential to be a really huge damaging unit, you know, an army, and that's one of the things we're lacking. We're lacking bound spells, because we have a ruby ring, and that's about it. Yeah, I don't know. That's basically what I'm coming to. My other big issue, and again, going back to the crossbow orcs, is the body count. Why is there a minimum of 20? All right, and I used to love playing them, and I think it was like version 0.99. Okay, version 0.99. They introduced, or like actually like the first version of 9th Age. They introduced crossbow orcs so you could use the models, right? Which I thought was awesome. Yes, they're not unwieldy. They're unwieldy. They're a crap ballistic skill, orc ballistic skill 3, and it's just like whatever, right? So you're gonna have long range, and God forbid you move, you're gonna hit on 7s. If you got long range, you're hitting on 5s. But the great news is they're strength 4 and good long range, like 30-inch range. The thing is, back in the first versions, I used to play 10-man units. Why? Because the box that I bought came with 10 crossbow orcs. Okay, that's simple. And I found a good use of it. And if I lost them, I lost them. Hey, it was like a couple hundred points, you know? Now it costs, I think, roughly about 380 points to get 20, which is the minimum, plus a musician. And I don't even think a banner. I think it's like 360 or 380. All right? Do you ever see anybody play crossbow orcs? No. I'm going to tell you another reason why. Because there's no synergy. Back when I used to use them, there was spells to make them poison, spells to make them armor piercing, spells to, you know, to boost damage potential, you know. And now, no. I mean, yeah, you could get +1 to wound. Hey, you know, you could do that with bows, though. And bows, you get a lot more bows with a lot better accuracy with volley fire than you would with crossbows. And God forbid you have to turn, you know. Yeah, you could put the Mazza Zappa bow and you could get that, you know, quick to fire, so you can move and shoot without penalty, but you still get the unwieldy penalty, you know. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, and that's why you don't see crossbow orcs. That's why you see, you know, it might be a fluff piece, it might be whatever you want to call it. There might be a reason why, you know, they decided that the points were out of whack or whatever. But I feel like the minimum in that specific unit hurts the orcs. I think a minimum in general hurts orc archers. Because taking 20 becomes a huge footprint. Going in horde formation becomes a huge footprint. With 25mm models, going 10 wide is a huge footprint. Yeah, granted, you get unruly. Yeah, you could take panic checks on 3d6. But when you're taking minimum 20, it's hard to justify just taking 20, because now you have to worry about that unit becoming a liability. When you're taking a minimum of 10, maybe a minimum of 12, 14, somewhere even less than that, your footprint becomes smaller. You could go 7 wide, you could go 5 wide, and if you lose that unit, you lose that unit. But you use them as a small archer unit, which would be more of a harasser orc unit that they probably would be in lore, you know? Anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. My feral orcs, oh god. I love feral orcs. I do. I miss them. I miss playing them. And part of the reason why I don't play them, well, currently I'm going to start playing with them again, but part of the reason I don't play with them is because the frenzy baiting. I mean, there's ways around that. Obviously, you could kill the chaff. You could kill units that have that will make you chase into a wall or whatever. But at the same time, the eadbashers themselves, it's such a low body count. I love the immune psychology. I love the frenzy. I love the extra hand weapons. I love the amount of attacks you're getting. Like I said, if you got no rerolls, if you got no hits, and you're basically whiffing half, and, you know, God forbid you're fighting an opponent who has better armor, better weapon skill, better initiative, better everything, you're not winning that combat. Orcs are becoming an issue where you have to get combo charges off just to win combat, you know, instead of actually just grinding out a unit. Okay, and I mentioned this in one of my posts on the 9th Age forums, which was, can you tell me honestly, whenever you took a 30-man orc unit into anybody else's, any army's, like, stronger unit, not their weaker unit, not their freaking, you know, oh, here's like a 20-man spearman block from, you know, Empire, you know. No, I'm talking about the straight up, the immortals, the warriors, the freaking sword masters, the Saurian temple guard, the freaking deep watch, anything, barrow guard, necro guard, even freaking mercenaries, anything at all. Can you tell me when your orcs won? It wasn't in this edition. If you went straight into them, it wasn't in this edition. And if it was, you're full of shit, sir. You, sir, are full of shit. You have to say, if that is being said, if you're saying that my orcs went into that unit and won combat, and the only reason that that sentence comes out is usually followed by, my opponent's dice rolled like shit. Okay? That simple. I was going to go for a couple more minutes, but I think I made my point. Guys, I'm going to make another I'm going to make another one of these videos talking about other units. Leave a comment section down below on what you would like to see more of. But if you guys want to give your ideas on why it would what fixes could be made for orcs and goblins. That's why I'm making these videos. I want to see what you guys come up with. I don't want to read the backlogs of forums of everybody bashing Skoldo and the other guy and Wesser and all them. I want to see actual comments saying why it would be good, why it would be bad, why I'm full of shit, why I'm right, why you're wrong, why everybody's right, why everybody's wrong. I just want to see those because hopefully it gets to the right people to make changes on what we think should happen in our Orc and Goblin book. I want to make Orcs and Goblins great again. I am doing this because I am the voice of the greenskins. You guys, if you guys think of greenskins, you guys probably think of me. Alright, I hate to say it like that, and I hate to be a cocky bastard at times, but oh well. And this is for Beard. You can see my nice nose hairs all you want, sir. And anyways, guys, I think that's about it. I don't know what else I was going to say about this, so I'm going to leave it here, and catch you guys next time. Take care. Peace.